instance, I'm thinking back to episode 1, dating T's and C's, right? So maybe if you get to 3rd date and you like them, so maybe not first date, but probably run a mile.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get into 3rd date and you like them.
To ask them.
No, ask them to come with their test results. And imagine
they might know already.
And it's the complete opposite, and you're like, right, we'll just call it. Just call it. But Jace Chetty says...
Yeah.
This is Frankie and Charlee. And I am Charlie House. And you are now listening to our podcast, Are They Trash?
I've been all around the world, so many different guys in the club, yeah. These garbage guys are so fine. They're always blowing my mind. Yeah.
Here we are!
Here we are!
Welcome back to our podcast. This is...
Series 1, Episode 7.
Episode 7 of
Are They Trash?
So thank you for coming back and joining us today. Today is an interesting topic. We're going to speak about love languages. So little cheers.
Ching ching.
Cheers.
So, who knows what their love language is? Have you done the test? Have you read the book by Gary Chapman? I actually have never read the book.
No, me
However,
neither.
I was recommended the book many years ago, and I really wish I'd read it. But I do really believe that love languages are a real thing, and they, let's start by saying what the love languages are, what they do. Yeah, should we do that?
Yeah, perfect. So, I guess to initially reel them off, so there is physical touch, there is words of affirmation, there is acts of kindness,
Acts of service, quality time, and then gifts. Yeah.
So what we can do is talk about, should we talk about what each of them mean in more depth first of all?
Let's do that,
Can you just reel it off, or do you want to actually read it?
We can read it, yeah.
Because I did send that.
I think read it.
So I've actually I did this test about 6 months ago. So I actually didn't even know what they were, up until 6 months ago.
Yeah, I don't think I did. Like I say, someone recommended the book to me. I never actually read it.
Yeah.
And then when I looked further into it, probably similar, maybe about a year ago, I was like, wow, yeah, that makes sense. So I did my test probably a year ago, I reckon. Yeah,
and I did mine 6 months ago.
So.
But I've just redone it so that we can talk about
this
it
is
on
really
today's
interesting
episode.
as well that you've really done it. Right, so acts of service can be helping with housework as an expression of love. Anything you do to ease the burden or responsibility of the weighing acts of service. So let me do that for you. You don't want to confuse it with things like obviously doing the washing up and things like that. Although that is an act of service, that's kind of like, it's not about doing the housework, it's about taking the load. So something that your partner might do on the regular and going, do you know what, I'm going to do that for you instead. Things like that.
Yeah. So not like the chores.
No,
I
not
guess
the chores.
More like, I don't know, say you were having a barbecue at the weekend with your partner and there was a family or something going on, like, okay, what do we need to do for this? And like, let me divide and conquer. Those types of things, going, I guess, above and beyond.
Yes, 100%.
She does this for me. It's really nice.
I do. Actually, yeah, that's another good point, isn't it? Just because your love language that you do and your love language that you like to receive could be two different things. We'll come to that.
It's a really good topic.
That's a really good topic, because my love language that I like to receive isn't the acts of service, really. I'm such a I like to do everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, so just you pointing that out made me realise that, so that's fun. Right, quality time, that goes without saying. It is obviously spending quality time with your partner. That's undivided quality time, no interruptions, no phones.
Yeah, phones
making time
off.
out of your busy schedule
to just be together,
Yeah.
whether that be alone somewhere or doing something together, but just be like...
Even if you're just chilling on the sofa
Yeah.
or, you know, planning a really nice date that you know your partner's going to love, just that quality time you two together.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
it's
that's
so
a good
funny
one.
because I'm only talking through, like I can just think of certain friends of like that is literally
Yeah.
her to a T, you know, like when you can see it in different people.
Different people.
Yeah,
But that's another thing as well, because all of these love languages apply to all relationships, whether it's work-related, friendships, family.
Yeah, because on the test you can actually choose whether you're doing it for like work, relation.
really?
Yeah, I'm going to share. It's called 5 Love Languages is the test, and I'm going to. We can share it with you or whatever. But just Google that, and you can do it for work, family, or for relationships.
That's really interesting.
So,
yeah, cool. So words of affirmation. Actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words "I love you" are important. Hearing the reasons behind the love sends your spirits skyward. So, for instance, complimenting someone, saying you're proud of them, noticing the things that
Saying they're
they
funny.
do, saying they're funny. This is actually my love language, and apparently came out slightly higher when Gary Chapman did his research. Came out as the highest one. They were all really close, but this came out as the highest one.
For
apparently.
him or
no,
in
for
general?
everyone. He tested it on about
Right.
10,000 people, but that was way back when. And I'll talk to you because Hinge did a more recent test, and it's changed.
Oh, I'm excited to hear all this. Okay, we're hearing this together, guys.
Right, physical touch. This one is so obvious. It's that reassuring physical touch. The kisses, the cuddles, the touching, the hand on the leg. Not always the slap on the arse.
There's a
Not
snuggle
always.
come into that. We all know Charlie likes a snogathon.
Like a little snog, yeah.
And then she's like, right, back to just
You
telling me
feel
I'm
me?
funny.
Yeah, just tell me I'm funny. You don't even need to snog me. No, I'm joking. I love a snog. Receiving gifts. Now, this is a good one. So don't mistake this love language for materialism. And that was something I was really going to point out. Doesn't mean you're materialistic. The receiver of gifts thrives on the love, thoughtfulness and effort behind the gift. If you speak this language, a perfect gift or gesture shows that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring this gift to you. So it could be booking an experience that you know, I know that comes into quality time a little bit, but booking an experience that you know your partner would love, for instance. Maybe even... No, I guess making dinner would be an act of service.
Just kind of like maybe coming home with some flowers or something. Or flowers.
I get enough of those.
Yeah, she gets loads of flowers.
Right, so I've got acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, and receiving gifts. There you go.
They're the 5. So I've just redone my test all the way to the other side. And mine was acts of service.
Was it? Interesting.
With 30%, followed by quality time next.
Yeah.
Then followed by words of affirmation.
Wow, okay.
Then physical touch, and then receiving gifts.
Oh, receiving gifts was last.
But actually,
so much for the Louis handbag every other week.
Wow, exactly. See, this is the thing. I'm not fucking materialistic. I'll just buy it myself. Make myself bankrupt.
Independent.
But actually, physical touch and receiving gifts are both the exact same. They're both 13%, so they're the same.
So let's see what the percentage was very quite clearly.
30. So acts of service. The reason why I wanted to redo this, and I was having a conversation with Charlie earlier about it, and it's really hard for me because I'm not in a long-term relationship. I'm thinking as an independent woman, as someone that's living on my own, you know, there's lots of like other factors that I feel like then has an impact on how I answer the questions.
Yeah.
So, for example, wow, I went all the way back. Nudes, fucking hell. So, for example, there was a question, what's more meaningful to me? To spend alone time with someone I love, just the two of us, or for someone that I love to do something practical to help me out. Oh. So, obviously, in this current situation, I'm not in a relationship. So, if someone helps me out, yeah,
more appealing.
Because it's just like if someone comes round, like when Charlie comes, I cook, she'll do the washing up. It's just a thing, and I'm like, oh, thank God for that, because it's just really nice to have that.
Yeah.
But so if someone does something, and I'm like thinking about like my birthday, and one of my friends from Uganda, one of the boys, like he really helped me with my birthday. Like he met me in London, and like took a load of the food shopping for me, and just like helped out, asked me this, asked me that, and I was like, oh my God, that's so nice, because it's one less thing for me to think about, because I'm A, the organiser, and I'm B, like obviously independently doing stuff on my own.
Yeah.
So I feel like because of all those, I was answering a lot of stuff like that, because I just probably want someone to fucking help me sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like, but then if I was in a relationship, I'd fucking expect them to do them things.
Yeah,
like,
of course, yeah.
So then if I was in a relationship,
would be
then it would be spending alone time with someone that I love, just us, because I'd be in a relationship, and I would be like, well, you should do them things. And so then that would be a different answer. So I do feel like when you do this, it's quite hard sometimes. You're looking at me, you're like, okay, am I answering this in a way of what I would like? And what I want for my future, or like I was thinking into my past when I was in a relationship. But then it's funny because I've had certain relationships where they were amazing, and others where literally they weren't. So it's kind of hard to differentiate the answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably just overcomplicating the test. But I'm just
saying,
do you know what I mean?
Actually, no, you're not. This is what I was just going to come to. So I've just listened to a podcast on the way up to Frankie's about love languages and things like that. And there's a girl, I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name already, but I just listened to different. No, I didn't. Right. I'll link it in anyway.
Yeah.
But she actually spoke about how you answer it differently depending on whether you're in a relationship or whether you're single. So this is why it's so funny. Yeah, and she said obviously when you're in a relationship, it's about your expectations. About what your relationship requires, as in what you need to feel loved in that relationship. And then obviously when you're on your own and you're single, then it's a more honest, she said that she thinks it's a more honest representation of what your real love language is,
because it's what you're looking for,
because it's what you're how you feel on your
what
own.
You deserve,
yeah, and on your,
for.
You're on this journey to find someone, or what you're looking for and what your expectations are.
Yeah.
So that's it's really interesting.
It is really interesting. And I remember when I did it the first time, and my sister obviously knows me very well, and she guessed. So mine is what is it? Acts of service.
Acts of service.
She went, yeah, yours is like service, like that, and I was like, and I was like, oh, and I was a bit like, why would you say that? But obviously she knows me really well. And it's funny as well that because I feel like my mum's is acts of service, like literally, like maybe it's hereditary.
She's a nurse or something, isn't she?
Yeah.
That goes without saying though, doesn't it? If you're a nurse, you'll constantly give to other people. So when someone does something for you, that'll be really meaningful. So I can imagine that it goes along well with her lifestyle. And
if someone just help her do something, like clear out the loft, which always we used to make us do. Oh God, it was never ending.
Yeah,
she'd love that. So yeah, I guess it's like and they
love that. Wow, she's easily pleased.
Trust me, she'd love it.
Shout out to Frankie's mum, but she's not single, is she?
No.
Oh, there you go. Well, she's already taken, guys. Your loss.
So the acts of service thing. So then, so that was obviously the first one, and then 23% afterwards were quality time. So and I do think that like I am I am a physical touch person if I'm really deep in a relationship and they're like that, but I actually think to just have that really quality time. There was a question about being able to just do something, just the two of you, and I always say that, don't I?
Yeah, you do always say that.
I was a little bit sad earlier on in the week, I'm going to be honest. We
Yeah,
did the last
do it.
podcast.
This is like a therapy session for us as well. And I always say to Frankie that when I drive home from here, obviously I have like an hour drive home, and I have time to reflect about what I've spoken about. And I've said it to my friends, I've said it to Frankie. It's like sometimes I speak about things on here that I've probably never said out loud to any of my friends, and so this is a form of therapy for us, and I could actually see it in you, and we haven't had this conversation yet after our last episode. There was something in me where I could see something had clicked in your head, and it was kind of like resonating with you.
Yeah, it really was, and I think it's like we talk about it, and obviously I'm on here like laughing and joking and saying I'm going to headlock him and all this kind of stuff, but the reality of it is, I am gonna. The reality of it is when you're actually talking about it deeply like this, you're reliving those moments, you're really deeply thinking about it, and like you said, you asked me last time, like, so what are you going to do differently? And I'm like, oh my God.
Put you on the spot, didn't I?
So then you're thinking about those things, and I'm a deep thinker anyway.
Yeah.
So I was massively thinking about it after. And then for a couple of days, I was actually really sad. Like, I was really, like, in myself a little bit. I was obviously talking to Charlie about it, but I was like, I actually think these podcasts are, like, really bringing up emotions. It's real. Like, it's really real what we're saying to you guys and bringing up emotions. So, yeah. So, anyway, I was feeling a little bit sad the other day. Where was I going with this?
About quality time.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just was like, I just really want to spend like time with somebody and share life with somebody in that way. And I'm so lucky that I've got the most solid friendships around me because I put so much into them, and I get that back in return. And I'm so lucky about that. But obviously, it would be so nice to have that in a partner. And it obviously shows that that's
It'll
something.
come.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm not trying to fucking get my violin out. But what I'm saying is, obviously, that's translating.
That is
into
translating
this. I
into
do
that.
just want to spend quality time with somebody, and that literally could be a dog walk.
That was good. Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. I was going to say, I think also a good thing to take into consideration is your age, because I do think if you, like me doing it a year ago, my results may have changed if I do it now. I don't think so. Words of affirmation through and through.
Yeah. Like,
I always remember this one time I had like a conversation this week with one of my exes who I'm still friends with. Yep.
Shout out to his girlfriend.
Anywho.
All the ex's girlfriends are like, is it you? Eliminating them.
Yeah, we had a conversation. All the exes. Wow. Yeah, we had a conversation, and we were actually saying, like, I was thinking to myself, like, had we of maybe been older and more mature, we probably could have had the conversation to resolve the fact that our love languages were different. And obviously, we could have possibly worked through that. I'm not saying that that's what I would have wanted and it wouldn't have still ended in the end, but that's all, you know, like as you get older, you become more emotionally mature. You get to know these things. You get to know things about, you know, like how to read each other and just having the communication. And I think that's what the love language really brings out, is that you have that good communication.
Yeah, to respect what the other person wants or likes from a relationship. And then you almost have to dial up or dial down whatever yours is, so that then you meet in the middle.
100%, yeah.
We do something similar to this at work, because we're really random, but like you do a like what your strengths are and how, you know, how you
like the hat thing.
It's colours, like you have different colours.
Cool. I thought it was coloured hats, but
you can. There's different ways of doing it, but it's basically like personality traits, and then therefore your manager is aware of you all do a test and your manager's aware, so then it's how to get the best out of you kind of thing, and how to like dial up certain areas that you maybe need to, or maybe areas that you need like a bit more development on. But it's only the same, but just with more relationship words.
Exactly.
When did this even come around?
Yeah, I don't know. I should have Googled that really. Yeah, before we come on, I should have Googled that. But yeah, no, it must be a really recent thing. But apparently Hinge do have it as a question on the app, so you can say what your love language is.
That's new.
However, yeah, from when
That's
we
new,
were been
'cause
on
when I
Hinge.
went on for like 2 months.
I was going to say for 12 hours.
Literally, for like 2 months. Yeah.
12 hours, bored,
Done.
small talk, central.
Done.
Hate that.
Literally. They didn't have it on them, but they did have if you were doing COVID
Yeah,
travel and things like that.
What the hell? But basically, there's also, I was in this podcast that I was listening to on the way, it does say that even if your love languages are the same and are compatible, that still doesn't mean that your relationship is going to work. So, for instance, if your love language is acts of service and so's your partner's, but you're both really busy people, or for instance, quality time, no, acts of service, I think is what they said, but quality time could fall into this one as well. Finding the time and the balance within your busy schedule to try and make that work still can be quite challenging, and then you're still not going to meet your partner's expectations.
Yeah,
do you see what I mean?
yeah.
Like if you work a shift pattern, if you're like doctor, nurse, fireman, and the other person doesn't work the shift pattern, finding that time for quality time and acts of service is going to be really difficult. So just because it's the same doesn't mean it's going to balance out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. But I think it's just having the awareness.
It is having the
So it's a conversation. So someone asked me the other day and I was like, oh, it was a male that asked me as well. I was a bit like, oh, like, and I was like, well, I'm kind of like a couple, but like, da 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 da. And this is why we then, I said to Charlie, I think we should do a topic on this. And I actually do a whole episode, and I think I'm going to redo it, and I'm just going to try and be as real as possible. And I really do think that is.
Yeah, I think that's really like a good reflection of you.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Like, it really is. So what else was spoken about on the podcast that you listened to?
So I listened to 2. One was Jay Shetty, and it said 6 steps to identify your partner's love language, and it was purely just down to like communication, having the like spending time with them, witnessing their seeing their different traits and how they respond to certain things, but also having the conversation, like what is your love language, and then how to work it out. So if you don't know how to work, if you're not sure by doing the test, what your love language would be, because obviously some of the questions are a bit misleading, you kind of have to think about what they mean to you, and you just rank them, because there are going to be little bits of everything that mean a lot to you. Like, of course we all like little gifts, of course we all like quality time, of course we all like acts of service, and words of affirmation goes without saying. So I think they all contribute to a relationship, but I think it's ranking them on what means the most to you. Or a better way of doing it is, if you didn't receive something, how much would it bother you? Because then that will also show you where it ranks in importance to you. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like, if you didn't get gifts, would that really upset you?
Yeah, like how much? Yeah, like
how much would it upset you? Would be like, oh no, I'm not really that bothered, or. Yeah, that is another way of realising.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm actually thinking back to a relationship, and I really do love that.
Quality time.
No, the other one.
Oh, acts of service. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Fucking done it again. Scrolling through her photos.
I remember a time in a relationship where someone said to me, like, I'm so proud of you, and I could literally remember the feeling right now. Like, it stuck with me forever when they said that to me. Like, I'm so proud of you. I was like, oh my goodness, like, that means the world to me.
Yeah, so it's words of affirmation.
100%.
I know we
in case you didn't know.
briefly mentioned earlier, but to make it really clear, tell her she's funny.
Tell me I'm funny. Tell me you're proud of me. Tell me I'm good at stuff.
This just reminded me of like last weekend.
I know, that's what I mean.
He's going to be watching and he's going to be like, we know, Charlie.
You're funny.
Yeah. She was going, when they were saying that she was funny, she was going, are you flirting with me?
Stop flirting with me.
You know, I like
That
it
is
when
my
you
love
do that.
language.
She's going, that's my love language. It was so funny.
Oh, no, but
So you can remember.
I remember the exact moment, and I'm one of those people that writes like 3 good things that happened to you today in your journal at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I remember writing it. I've probably still got the journal somewhere. Like, it meant that much to me. Like, I remember it. Yeah.
Wow.
So much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, I can imagine. And I think, like, similarly, I remember when a holiday was planned for me for a birthday.
that's
Now,
cute.
he was absolutely useless at anything like that, but he went to one of my best friends. He would always go to my best friend and my sister for, like, birthday presents.
Yeah.
Of, like, what does Frankie want? What does
Yeah.
she need? So I would always open up stuff that I just adored.
Yeah.
And he planned... we went to Prague. God, this is so long ago now. We went to Prague, and I was just like, it was just the whole thought, like, just the whole process of just being able. Guess that's a little bit of like the gift,
The gifting as
but
well.
it was more the
taking control,
the taking
'cause you're always in control.
Exactly.
She's
So I
always in
just
control.
think even back then,
Yeah.
that it has always been something in me that I've loved if it's just happened. And I always remember saying back then, like, oh my God, I would love it if, like, they took control in this way or took control
I
in
think,
that way.
yeah, that boils back to us being independent women, because, like what we said in the first episode, like, it's really nice because we always, like, make decisions. I make decisions all day, every day.
Yeah.
And then when someone else makes the decision or takes control a little bit, it's so nice. So I can believe acts of service was probably up there with mine as well. Yeah, definitely take the load off a little bit. Yeah, definitely.
100%. And then I think, like, with the physical touch, it's
Yeah, we haven't even touched.
fuck's sake, literally heartless bitches.
Sorry.
Heartless bitches. I bet. Do you know what that comes from? Put us in a relationship or in a situation where we're so comfortable and we've not got to worry about whether they're, you know, trying to get the leg over and there's an ulterior motive, or whether they want to get in the snack cupboard, or whether they want to stay here because they don't want to stay where they're staying and, you know, whatever, or all these different types of things, or whether they want to, you know, use you for being a successful businesswoman because there's
What, and get a free haircut?
and a wax back sack and crap
And all that shit.
all of that. Like fucking
Be the most well-groomed
Hermione
man around.
Granger in the bloody
Wingardium Leviosa.
yeah, Leviosa. Turn him into a frog.
He's going to say that.
Say.
Twinning.
So funny. You'll notice this. We don't plan these
We
things.
don't.
It's just a thing. Like, literally, how the fuck did we meet
We
6
finished
months
each other's
ago?
sentences. Yeah, I know.
Mental. I used to dream of this when I was younger. I always used to want to be a twin, and
That's so cute.
I did always want to be a twin.
Oh,
Now I just want to have
dreams come
twins.
true.
Yeah.
Oh,
So here she goes again with a fucking tick box list, twins.
must be able to have twins.
Well, you said must not have any food allergies.
Oh yeah, I know. I thought about that afterwards, and I was like, that was a bit mean. I might have like put some people off. No,
I think what
Just
you meant was
fussy
like, don't be a
eaters.
fussy eater.
Yeah, don't be a fussy eater. That's
Yeah,
all
it's
it
fine
was.
if you're allergic to peanuts. It's not going to bin you off.
I mean, peanut butter is one of my favourite things in the whole world, so that might be a problem.
No pad ties then.
Just literally peanut butter out the jar. Like, imagine. Well, I won't be able to do a snogathon and eat peanut butter, will I?
Oh shit!
Yeah. No, so peanut allergies
so
are
no
out.
peanuts.
Sorry. What are we like?
I fucking
We've gone
can't.
well off on a
We've
tangent.
gone off on a tangent. That's what we do. Right, back to it.
Love
right.
languages.
Focus.
Put your goggles on and focus.
Right, remember. It was talking about the physical touch thing. So
Yeah.
my point is that when you're in a really settled, safe relationship, and we're not
when you feel completely comfortable.
then of course you're going to let that guard down. But I think from both of us not having that quite high up, I think that shows how guarded
I
we
know.
are.
I was going to say that as well. Yeah, guard's definitely up.
But then I
bitten,
do
twice
sometimes
shy.
go in a relationship, sometimes in a relationship, no, sometimes on a date, and if they are really like that, I'm like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's nice.
You
if they want to
know-
hold your hand over the table and stuff at dinner.
Yeah.
Or they like...
Or
yeah.
just like, I've been on a date for food, and then afterwards we've just been like walking to the car and they've
they
just...
hold your hand.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is traditional.
Yeah, this is really cute.
So I do
Holding
think we
hands
really
stage.
like it, but I think there's probably other elements that are perhaps more stand out to us at the moment.
100%, yeah.
But then, like you said, back to the other podcast that you was listening to, it'd be really interesting to redo it
When we're in a relationship.
when we are in a relationship.
Yeah.
Manifest when we are.
Yeah.
And then obviously see how it would change.
Yeah, physical touch would probably appear higher on my list if, in a relationship. 100%, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But
'Cause
like
then-
you say, it's what we're looking for, and our expectations right now is how we've answered that quiz.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking of like my friend who literally is so physical touch, but she's also 360 miles per hour and straight in there. No holding back, no playing games, because she's a massive lover, and don't get me wrong, we all are, but that's what really drives her.
Yeah.
And physical touch, quality time will literally be like so high up on her.
Yeah.
And all the others, like, she probably just doesn't
Not
really...
so much,
No, like, not so much. In fact, I'd love to actually see
I was going
her
to say, we should.
percentages.
I know who you're talking about, so I feel like
Yeah.
she should definitely do a test.
Yeah.
I think everyone should go and do a test because, like I said earlier, it is that baseline of communication when you're in a relationship, I think. Like, it's a good place to start. It's a good place to know where you stand in a relationship, what their expectations are. And the thing is, like, I was listening to Jay Shetty, you can waste a lot of time if they're not going to align. They're not going to align. You can't change someone's love language. That's what he was saying. You can't change it. You can try and compromise and meet in the middle, but you can't change. If someone's is physical touch, you not touching them isn't going to be, like, is not going to make them feel loved, secure, content, happy. So yeah, I
That's
definitely...
really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking back to episode 1,
Yeah.
dating T's and C's, right? So maybe if you get to third date and you like them, so maybe not first date, but probably run a mile.
Yeah.
Maybe if you get into third date and you like
You
them.
need to ask them.
No, ask them to come with their test results. And imagine
They might know
and it's the
already.
complete opposite, and you're like, right, well, we'll just call it.
Call it a
Call
day,
it. But Jace Chetty says.
Yeah. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. He also says that him and his wife, so obviously growing up, your childhood and the way that you were loved by your parents can influence your love language, which I thought was really
This is why I just said that about my mum.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just copying her.
Yeah.
I want someone else to help me with my laugh. I actually really could do that.
Yeah, I know.
If I laugh, there's so many
Don't look
cloves
at
at the
me. No, I'm not getting in the loft.
What if I tell you really funny?
I am funny,
She
and I know I
knows.
am. I get told all the time. Yeah. No, I can't. Lofts give me literally, oh God, my dad hates it because I've got so much stuff in my loft. I'm such a hoarder, as you know.
Yeah.
So loft, I'm like, stay away.
Right, well,
Don't let
that's
anyone
good
get
then.
there, no.
But that's hilarious,
Yeah.
though, that family can have an impact on it. But no, I think back to what I just said, generally, if that's episode 3, date 3, bloody hell, date 3, I think it should be a topic of conversation. I mean, we need to add
Definitely.
that into the T's and C's.
Definitely.
Topic of conversation, because then you know, okay, we were attracted to each other, we've got, similar goals, ambitions, all the different types of things that we've said that you would speak about initially, but then that's going to take it to that next level.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
going to be a whole other conversation topic.
I'm going to ask everyone going forward. That's
Right.
going to be my thing now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really important, especially after looking back at previous relationships and thinking, that's why that didn't work. Because our love languages were so off. So, yeah. But I think you can learn a lot from someone else and their love language. I've definitely learned love language from other people.
Really? What,
Being in
like a friend
relationships.
or relationship?
No. Well, yeah, both, definitely. But I think I like to do things for other people Yeah, I definitely like to do things for other people. That's my way of showing that I care about you.
So is that acts of gifts?
Acts of service I will do. But I do like to buy gifts as well.
Same.
Yeah, I do like to buy gifts. But if someone, I like receiving gifts. Everyone likes receiving gifts. But like I say, it's not
You do
the
the
most...
gifts thing, because I do it, and I was really like, wow, when you was doing it, I was like, fucking
Yeah, I like gifts and service. But then
It's
I
the
could
thought
probably
behind
communicate
it.
better by saying words of affirmation, especially as I like words of affirmation. And I think I've got much better at that as I've got older. And as for the physical touch thing, so going back to upbringing, so to speak, my upbringing wasn't all kisses and cuddles and all of that. Like, don't get me wrong, we kiss and cuddle, but it's not like the primary way of showing that we love each other. So my the physical touch thing, I've learned from being in previous relationships. Like, one of my ex-boyfriends is a very physical touch, loving, will tell you, like, you're the most beautiful girl he's ever seen in his life, and kisses on the forehead, kisses on the forehead.
She loves a kiss on the forehead.
All of that, but then I've got much better at doing that through being with him. So there's definitely, you can learn.
Like I say, you can dial it up and down when you know what they do and don't like. That's really funny that you said that about like upbringing and stuff, because it's very similar. I feel like my mum and dad was like so busy working so much all the time. It was like I feel like if my mum wasn't, she was just ending the laugh. She's gonna cry when she watches this. Cry with laughter.
Yeah.
I think the same. My mum was just. I remember growing up, like, she did everything. She overcompensated by buying us gifts. We were really, 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 I'll say, we were spoiled growing up. You know, my mum and dad worked so hard, and we were really, really lucky. But I feel like because they were so busy, that key times, key dates, kind of overcompensated. And I feel like probably that's what. There's a reflection. And my sister is different, and I feel like my sister, she's more, I call her selfish, but she's probably just more normal. Whereas, like, I probably overcompensate. Yeah. You know, for whatever reasons. Whereas my sister's probably a little bit more kind of, just, I guess, normal. Like, she won't overcompensate with certain things. I'm like, oh, you're selfish, like, but actually probably not. Yeah. You know, so it's funny, isn't it, how your upbringing can have a different reflection. But also, my sister's a lot younger, and she probably was actually giving me, and my brother would have moved out, she probably was given more attention. Yeah. Well, she was. We always say she was the favourite. I was the middle child. She's the youngest. Oh. My brother was the oldest. So he's always blue-eyed boy. I was in the middle, so I just had to crack on and do my
Middle child syndrome.
My
mum's got that.
But and I would say my sister probably then did have, I guess, more attention. Yeah. Because my mum's life would have slowed down a lot more then. Mm-hmm. So, interesting.
It is so interesting.
I wonder what, like, a psychologist would say on this. Yeah. Because you could get really deep into it, couldn't you?
I think Gary Chapman is a psychologist, yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or he does a lot of work with psychology groups, because, like I say, I was listening to the podcast, and, he's done lots and lots of research into it, like, analysed the results of the tests of, like, 10,000 couples, and he can predict he did a test to predict couples that would last. So he reckons he could meet a couple, get their test results, and then predict if they were going to work out and they were going to last. Yeah, the podcast was really interesting.
What was it called again?
That was the first one that we listened to. Psychology of Your 20s is what it is. We discuss love language.
Our love language is real is the topic. So we'll look at the...
And she's the one that discusses, there's like more modern day love languages, because she also talks about how acts of service is really dated, because obviously the gender balance between
that it shouldn't be a thing.
So she actually puts it into 7 categories and labels it activity and things like that. So even, like, I was talking to one of my clients today about love languages, as we were talking about relationships and stuff. He was talking about his daughters, and he was saying about how, for instance, if you didn't share a hobby, but you really... So, for example, we use golf as an example. So your partner might like golf, me,
Would
for
fucking
example,
hate it 'cause we're shit
would
at
hate
it.
that because we're shit at it and I'm really competitive. However, I would definitely compromise on that and say, okay, I'll come with you. Maybe I'll have a few lessons. You can teach me. If I continue to be rubbish at it, then I would actually be like, look, I'm not going to do the golf because it frustrates me and pisses me off that I'm shit at it.
Yeah.
But I will meet you in the clubhouse after every single
And have
week
a-
and have a few drinks with you.
Love that. No, so
And that's like the love language that I would
say.
yeah,
so you're
would-
dialing
so
it
you're
up
dialing
to meet,
up and
to
down,
meet in
yeah.
the middle. Interesting. I think this has been such an interesting topic. And Charlie obviously did a lot of research listening to podcasts, and I was like, I want you to share them with me live and direct, so that we can obviously discuss
Live
it
and
live and direct.
AJ Tracy.
Hey, JJ. So we can discuss it, but I think this has been a really interesting one today. I think, it obviously boils down to communication. But
Yeah, exactly
but communication is such a broad topic. So, like, communication within the dating world, so within what you do and don't want, instead of going, I don't like this or don't like that, you can actually relate it to a love language. It's perhaps easier to approach, easier to learn about, easier to know whether you can dial up and dial down, and probably a lot more research out there that you can maybe relate and then use that for your relationship. So I think that's probably where we've got to today with teaching you about, I guess, love languages, and I think we need to add it into the dating T's and C's.
Yeah, definitely,
For date
I agree.
3.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll take us then to, like, take you, us, all of us. We're
All of us on this
together. Take us to the next level.
Yeah, and really understanding that person that you're dating and their expectations, and whether you are actually able to meet those expectations without wasting your time. Because like we've discussed, time is precious and we ain't got all the time in the world, you know?
Exactly.
We're out here to find the one.
Exactly, in case you didn't know. So, on that note, cheers to love languages.
Yay, love languages.
Yours is, what's it called?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
The fact that you don't remember it.
And mine is
like...
acts of kindness. What is it? Acts of service.
Acts of service.
I always get stuff like this mixed up. I need to put it on, like, the wallpaper on my phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers to acts of service and
Words of affirmation.
Thank you for listening to episode 7, series 1 of
Are They
Trash?
This is Frankie and Charlee. And I am Charlie House. And you are now listening to our podcast,